What is going on, everyone, and welcome to a special video. So basically we're going to be talking about the Dark Knight Succession. Is it worth it? My thoughts and opinions of it. So some of you guys, or a lot of you guys, have actually asked me, should I stay Awakened? Should I swap to Succession? All that stuff. So I'm going to kind of go over the pros and cons of having both of them. So in short, just Succession is better, in my opinion, for PvE and small-scale fights like 1v1s and Node Wars, but worse than Awaken in large-scale, so like sieges and stuff. So that's just a general idea, but I'm going to go over like the things that change, different combos, and how you're going to have to adjust to swapping over to Succession. But if you just want to stay Awakened, that's cool too. It's like same thing. So overall, I don't really know where to start. I don't really do these kind of videos that often, so if I miss something, I apologize. Feel free to ask in the comments or join Discord, all that stuff. Speaking of that, let's go. All right, anyway. So yeah. I'm going to be talking about mostly the Succession and how they change from the regular abilities right here. So first of all, the things you should know, this is just basics at everything. Once you choose Succession, you're basically trading the absolute version for it. So what you would have to do, for example, if you wanted Succession, Wheel of Fortune, or the Prime version, I guess we can call it, you go up to 5, and then you get the Succession. You do not go for absolute anymore. You actually just can't do it. So yeah, Succession. Things that I've noticed, changes, different combos and strategies that I would use. One, you're probably going to be using Ravage Rake and Pervasive Darkness more than usual. If you never used it before, well, now is a good time to start learning. Everything else is pretty standard. You've probably used them all before. I personally still do not like Obsidian Ashes, no matter how much damage it does. And it really doesn't do that much damage. But yeah, just something about this ability, I don't really like it. It looks cool, that's about it. So a big change that people will notice by switching to Succession is, one, when you use Nocturne, you have more options and combos. Well, it tells you on the tooltip, and I'll be showing you what they look like shortly. But before, when you use Nocturne, just like with Awaken, or just Unawakened actually, you would quick slot it and then just push the Nocturne and either go back or forth. With Succession, you could charge a few things, and let me just show you real quick. So here, when you have Nocturne, you can use it with a few different abilities. So Lunacy of Vidir, Twilight Dash, and Comma Slash. One thing with Comma Slash now, before, you can actually charge it down. You can just charge it and hold it for as long as you want. That's actually really cool. Previously, once the bar filled up, you would just auto let it go. So now that you can charge it infinitely, that's pretty nice. So combos with Nocturne that everyone's gonna have to get used to. Basically, once you use one of the 3 skills there, you just press right click. So let's start with Lunacy Vidir. You press that, and then you right click, and then back and forth, what we're used to. But it's just like a 3-step combo. So, and then next we have, dude, hold on. Twilight Dash. That's another thing we're gonna have to get used to with Twilight Dash. Previously, it used to be on F because it would be on Awakened. Keys are swapped. So it used to be on F. Now it's on C. I keybound mine to space just because, I don't know. When I play, it's like, I don't really play claw, but it's like when you're these 3 fingers, WASD, and then now you'd have to use your thumb more often to hit the C. So it's just easier on space for me. So that's personal preference. But anyway, when you Twilight Dash, you can get the Nocturne off by holding right. So that's another 2-step combo. But Lunacy of Vidir is a 3-step, which is kind of interesting. And then with Comma Slash, I still the tooltip is kind of unclear. But I don't really use it while comma slashing, so when you do that, charge it, and then let it go, and then that's how you set off that one. I think the most common one you're going to see people using is when they Twilight Dash into Nocturne, or Lunacy of Vidir into Nocturne, and just go invisible and either do the 3-step or 2-step. So that's one thing we're all gonna have to learn what Nocturne is. It's just like a comboing. It's the same thing, just 3 buttons instead of 2, kind of thing. Another big change besides the comma slash full charge, you hold it, and the Nocturne, obviously you're going to be using it on combos more often instead of hotkeys. Slanted balance. For all of you PvPers, this is going to be great news. Slanted balance previously, like, let me just give you a rough estimate. You see the shadow right here? That's basically the range you could hit people with previous slanted balance. If you were like standing right here, that shadow will be where you go. So they increased the range of slanted balance by, I don't actually know, it doesn't tell you on the tooltip, you just kind of have to use it to see. But if I had to guess, it would be like a 2 to 3 like range distance. So when you look at it, it's kind of like you could hit people like from up to here, I guess, instead of like up to here. I don't know how to describe it well, but let's just say it's like a double to triple range. And that means when people are like CC'd floated, it's nicer. The range is a lot farther. You can actually hit things now compared to 2 years ago. So that's always nice. Let's see, what else got changed? Lunacy of Vidir. I think the cooldown got shortened. Yeah, from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. That's pretty nice. Wheel of Fortune just looks cooler. For the most part, you have you can actually see the radius like for the actual like second after it goes off. So that's kind of nice. Previously, like, Wheel of Fortune is kind of like the unreliable skill that if you got it off, it's good and probably did a huge chunk of damage to the enemies. But most of the time, people who play Evasion, it's just like, why did you just eat my Wheel of Fortune? Why did that happen? Now I think there's a better chance of you actually like landing the hit, which is kind of good. One thing that I've been testing, I'm not too sure about this one. So as you guys know, we have less abilities in Awaken now because we're losing some of our range things. The one that we're gonna probably all miss is the Spirit Hunt. That was a great one, and that one you used to not only stiffen enemies, but it's like swap between unawakened to awakened. So now that we don't have that, Spirit Hunt like no longer exists for us. So one thing we have to do, like, since we don't have a few extra abilities that we'd use while other skills are on cooldown, one thing I've been testing, I'm still not too sure about this one, is the Vidir's Dogma. And previously, if you're using Awaken, I still wouldn't use it. I really don't think this is a good ability. However, when you have the extra like 1 or 2 second downtime during all your abilities, I think it might be more used. I still don't think it's good. So I have mine slotted. It's just mostly for testing. I understand if no one knows what it does, because I never knew what it did until like 2 days ago. So once you do that, it's basically a permanent toggle on and off buff. So you're basically using MP 20 every 3 seconds. But when you use this, your left click damage, scarring slash, and sudden attack damage is up. So basically when you're just left clicking, you do more damage and all that stuff. So it's something I've been testing. Do I think it's really great? No, but it's something there's an option to use now. But yeah, it's not like game changing good. It's just another option. So just keep that in mind. Still testing it. Can't really say if it's good or not. It's just something I've been working on. Now that we have Ravaged Rake and something I've just kind of been adding to my like rotations more often, And I never really used it previously. Like, I would use it every now and then, but most of the time I forgot it existed. And then with the flow, so kind of like left click, right click, and then flow. It's pretty easy to use. So the big things you're pretty much going to be noticing. Airstrike, they changed it a little bit. It's hard to really see what it looks like unless you've practiced it a while ago. So previously, what airstrike is, you would have to airstrike and then like turn your camera. Otherwise, for some reason, this is not your fault, it's the game's fault, where it would land the attack and hit 2 CCs on the enemy. And as you know, like a year ago or something, they changed it so enemies or every player has a 2 CC limit within X seconds. And if you airstriked an enemy while just looking at them, that would count as 2 CCs for some reason. No one really knows why. It just happened. Now they fixed it. Now this is only for Succession that I've noticed. And if you're still on Awaken, well, you still have to turn your camera. Which, I don't know why. It's just the thing that's there. I don't know how to explain it. But anyway, so now you can actually do this if you're in Succession, and it'll only count as 1. You don't have to like turn your camera to lose the second hit. That's pretty nice. So let's see, what else is there? Basically, the things that you would be using more often. Let's say I don't know how to describe it, but without actually showing you in some real combats, which I'll probably have in some future videos. But like some combos you would do now are if you like get close enough to Wheel of Fortune. This is standard, or you can airstrike into an enemy and do that. Now you're just gonna have to watch out for this. The usual attacks that still happen. Enforcement still strong. I still don't really know why they changed like the name and picture. Overlord and Spirit Absorption, basically the same thing, different name, different picture. Why? I don't know. But anyway, the stamina is still kind of an issue. We have a passive that increases our stamina by 300. Is it better? Technically, yes, but there's still kind of a stamina issue. That's, you get more magic AP. That's cool. Still can't do anything against Mystics and Strikers. What else is there? That's pretty much it. We got the whole like Spirit Legacy thing. That's cool. This is one thing that if they didn't have, I would still be Awakened right now. Spirit Legacy, we all know as our main spammable and our big damage ability. The difference between Awakened and Succession is Awakened is pink, Succession is purple. But anyway, like, this is our like main spammable ability. If they didn't have it, I would still be Awakened to this day because it really does help for grinding and just overall. So if you actually look at the tooltip, the prime these abilities over here on the far right side, the damage is actually still the same. So let's take a look at Spirit Legacy, 981 times 8, right? Now, if you got Spirit Legacy maxed out over here, it's still 981 times 8. The only ones that have an increased damage are the ones on this side that has a level up system. Everything over here still the same. Yeah, still to this day I have Obsidian Ashes locked. It looks different, but the animation, as much as it looks cool, it is still not a protected ability unless you're using the ultimate, or the Black Spirit Rage one, which you guys can see to the right. The regular, if you're just using it normally, that has the longest animation, and in PvE, like, you can literally do 2 skills in the time it takes to do that one. And in PvP, if you see someone doing this, you could just like literally do anything in that time. So Honestly, it looks cool, but that's it. Even in Awaken, or just non-succession, I still never really use this. So I have 1 point into here just to have it. I don't use it. I'm using more Ravage Rake first, but eventually if I get the points, I'll probably put points into here, but ultimately this is like the lowest priority. So in my opinion, hold on 1 second, sorry. Priority skills you should get if you've been playing Dark Knight for a long time. Of course, you want your Spirit Absorption, that's your Overlord ebuff. And then you want to get the extra AP damage, that's free damage. Increase the Wind of the Spirit, more stamina, always good. But in terms of abilities, you're going to want Wheel of Fortune. I wouldn't say this is like absolute order you should get them in, but these are like high priorities that I would recommend. Wheel of Fortune, Lunacy of Vidir, Spirit Legacy, Nocturne, Twilight Dash, Enforcement, Comma Slash, and literally the rest of these. I would say Comma Slash is the last one you can get. Like, I would get Airstrike and Slanted Bounce over Comma, but I mean, like, eventually you're gonna want to get them all, right? So if I were, like, unfortunately I don't have like the add-on and skill book change thingy, but I would say you need about 1,700 skill points to get the minimum of the things that are good and maxed out. 1,850 is a good spot to get like everything, but not, these two aren't maxed out, and like if you wanted just more stuff into here, you would need more. So basically 1,750 or 1,700-ish is the round minimum that you want. 1,850 is a good spot. 1,800 is generally a good spot. And to max out everything, I think you need about like 2,100 skill points. But if you are like making a new character and you don't have that many, and you're going into Succession, I can go over real quickly like some priorities. You're going to want to get Chain Dusk. You're going to want to get the Smoky Haze. You don't have to get the absolute versions yet, but I would highly recommend getting Unveiled Dagger. You don't really need Shadow Bullet or these. Airstrike is very important. Slanted Balance is very important. Pervasive Darkness is good. It's not high priority, so it's just on the lower tier of things. Same with Ravage Rake, lower tier, but still good. Nocturne, you want to get that one even if you are just leveling up a new character. It's not... Before Succession, I would say it's a low ability, but if you do decide to go to the Succession route, you will 100% want to get it. Enforcement, high priority. Lunacy of Vidir, whenever you unlock it, get that one immediately. Comma Slash, mid-tier level worth. Wheel of Fortune, when you unlock it, high priority. Obsidian Ashes, I don't really like the ability in general. It's just slow, and it's not really good for either PvP or PvE. It just kind of looks cool. And then Corrupt Ground, low priority. It just gives you MP back when you hit things, so this is what it looks like. And then it's like a kind of slow ability that gives you resources back. And then, of course, you want to max out all the passives over here. In terms of my Raboms, I just chose this one because it has super armor. Shadow Strike, it's kind of hard to hit people with it. Even, like, you might see the hit damage, and it's like, oh, 1482 times 4 is with a 100% crit rate. That looks good, right? Well, yeah, but when that actually hits people, that's like 2% of their life. It doesn't actually do that much damage, believe it or not. So I chose Wrath of Vidir because it has super armor and resources back when you were grinding. So you're not really using it for the damage itself. I just have it for like one of those abilities when all my other skills are on cooldown, and you just kind of need something to do. Now this one, Obsidian Blaze, is kind of the same thing. I chose it because it has super armor, not because of the damage. and this one just, I don't know, seems kind of weird. So ultimately, I think this one is a more difficult decision. Both of them are not bad. I just rather have super armor over non-super armor, if that makes sense. All right, so yeah, overall, I can show you what things look like if you're... So we'll do the... Dude, I don't even know what this is called. Spirit Absorption. We'll just call it E-Buff. That's what it looks like now. So if you see that animation, someone just buffed, and you probably shouldn't stand in front of them. Wheel of Fortune now has a bigger radius, or at least I think it has a bigger radius. So here's the Rabam one. This is what it looks like. Right? That one has, I guess you can say whatever that thingy was right there. That's the radius. And if you do Succession one, it looks, I think I moved a little bit, but I think it has a bigger radius. So things to note, if you do decide to go to the Vidir's Dogma one, your weapon will be glowing a little bit, and you'll have like the glowy toggle on effect. Your Spirit or Twilight Dash, it looks cooler now. And then if someone dash, you shouldn't be doing this in PvP, but if you decide to Twilight Dash through something for some reason, you're probably still gonna get grabbed and die. But at least now you have an option to Nocturne it as well. So I think what you're going to see in PvP more often is people slamming their that and then going invisible and then either forward or back. Probably forward. So it's one thing to look out for. You could charge this up. I don't really see many people actually just holding the charge for that much, but that's another option for a Nocturne. It's gonna have to get used to the 1, 2, 3 combo. But yeah, I think this is probably still my favorite. It looks cooler dashing through it. So a few things or adjustments that you're probably gonna have to get used to, and like this is what's taking me a little bit to get used to. Previously, Twilight Dash was on F, now it's on C by default, or just rebind it, whatever, it's fine. I personally have mine on space, but C, kind of like Awakening swap, which you shouldn't have ever been doing. Even if you were staying on Awaken, you should be using skills to C swap, not literally hit the C swap button. So yeah, you could still use Nocturne normally. It's just if you combo it, it's better, if that makes sense. So you could still use it the way, just go invisible, but I'd rather combo it into something. Airstrike is nicer. Looks cooler. But overall, that's about it. I could show you my add-ons real quick, but most of them are personal preference, or if you've played Dark Knight for a while, most of them are pretty mandatory. There are a few changes. So this is what I had. If you want to take a screenshot, go for it. Wheel of Fortune, Lunacy of Vidir. Those are pretty mandatory. You're going to want them. Now, keep in mind, my build is a little mix of PvP and PvE because I like grinding. So, oh, it actually changed orders as I logged out of the game a while ago. It doesn't matter, it's still the same thing. So, Wheel of Fortune, Lunacy of Vidir, you're going to want them. I chose the PvE route for this one because I don't know, I grind every now and then. And Enforcement is definitely a PvP ability more often. So if you don't do any PvP, you can swap this one out for, I don't know, Slanted Balance. There aren't really too many options. Unfortunately, I don't have like an add-on thingy, so I can't really show you. Wait, what? You do not have any of the items work. Memory Fragment. Wait, how do you can change these with memory fragments? I didn't know that. Alright. So, anyway, Airstrike is a one like a flex spot that you could change with slanted balance. The other options, unfortunately, I can't show you because I don't have anything to change. But airstrike is one of those flex spots. You could swap to slanted balance. Same with enforcement. There's only 2 prime abilities that you can get, I believe, or there might be a third one, which is the Ravage Rake. But honestly, if you're doing PvP or PvE, I think I like having these over Ravage Rake. And then Twilight Dash. This one is kind of a tricky one in terms of the effects. Now, I would show you if I could, but it's basically like attack down, some other stuff like more defense. And you keep in mind that when you have these, they don't really stack. So let's say you use Airstrike 1, which gives you 10% attack speed, right? And then you use Wheel of Fortune. They do not stack. You'll still keep the higher one, so like the 10% instead of the 7. I just think it resets the skill timer, but you do not get 2 of them. Same with everything else, like PvP attack does 10 and then 15. You do not get both of them. You keep the higher one. Now, Spirit Legacy, pretty important. Twilight Dash, pretty important. The only ones that you change are here. I chose Evasion. You shouldn't really be playing Evasion Dark Knight just because it doesn't matter how much. You're still going to get wrecked by Strikers, Mystics, and Archers. But the 4% is better than 0%. And I've decided to add the dot onto here. In PvP, it doesn't really matter. I think these thingies are off. Yeah, this one's off for some reason. Is that normal? The tooltips are broken, dude. When you hover over it, it's not the same. I wonder if that means it works. Anyway, well. So yeah, those are my add-ons. If you want to copy it, cool. Just keep in mind this is a mix of both PvP and PvE. So that's what I have. I think I covered everything in succession. But if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. One thing that I'm still like getting used to is not spirit hunting anymore. So if you just see me like doing random stuff like that, it's because I'm trying to spirit hunt and then realizing I don't have it. So I'm just like, oh, well, you did something stupid again. And yeah, so like we're all used to Shift E, Shift left click, right click, up right mouse. Now those no longer exist. So it's kind of like you're going to be dashing a lot more. And just keep that in mind that when you Chain Dust your invincibility or iframes, it only works when it's not on cooldown. So if you like dash 3 times and you get hit on the second one, you're gonna get CC'd. It only works for the first one, like that. So just keep that in mind. Overall, yeah. I guess other recommendations I can give you as Dark Knight in general tips, not like Succession specific, is you should not be going Evasion Dark Knight. If you were like any other class, I might recommend Evasion just because it scales better. For Dark Knights, you want to go Accuracy and DR. You could go Evasion, but it's not great. Just trust me on that. With everyone playing Evasion builds these days, we are like the 1%. And so you just want to get Accuracy. I can show you my crystals real quick. There's a few things I have to change. I still use Black Magic Precision Crystals. I do want to. I've actually been grinding a little bit for the Elcars. I just really can't justify paying 175 mil for 4 accuracy. Like, technically, these are better than Precisions. I just can't see myself spending that much money on 4 accuracy. But, hey, if you could afford it, why not? So, yeah, that's a thing. Some things that I'm not really sure about. So I still like having 4 Hooms, except I get CC'd a lot. So I've been thinking about taking one of the Jin Kobes out of the Dim Tree armor, or like just one of the crystals in there, putting a Hoom into the Dim Tree armor, and then adding one of those RBF crystals. Let me just show you real quick. There's so many RBF crystals, dude. Yeah, one of these into my shoes, and then adding the Hoom. These things went up in price. They're expensive. But yeah, that's about it. I think I covered everything I wanted to for Dark Knight Succession. Yeah, mostly the big changes are just a recap, I guess. Longer range. You can hold the charge now. Wider radius, still trash. You could use this and this to combo with Nocturne. You're probably going to be using Pervasive Darkness and Ravage Rake more often. Slanted balances wider range. Enforcement looks like it has a wider range, but I'm not too sure. That's what the combo for it looks like. You should be... The way I combo this one is Unveiled Dagger. When you use Unveiled Dagger, your attack speed goes up by 10% for 5 seconds. That's just the effect, right? So basically, normally, if you were to use it, so this is what Enforcement looks like by itself, right? You saw how you could shot out. Now, if you combo this with Unveiled Dagger, if you hit someone during it, they get stiffened, and that means they can't really move out of it. So you're going to want to hit them with that, and you saw how the Enforcement just shot out a lot faster. So that's one of the combos that I use in PvP. I actually have some videos of me, like, it was still from Awakened, but you're still going to use it. It does a lot of damage against other people. So yeah, that's about it. And yeah, so thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, join my Discord. You can ask me there. Leave it in the comments. I'll get back to you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.